Man, is it refreshing to have a protagonist that actually thinks clearly, logically, and maturely? That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is such a fun ride that you can't help but fall in love with each and every character. Rimuru is adorable as a slime, Gabiru sucks so much that you get excited to see him fail at every turn, Shion is... Shion. And the rest of the cast make the episode so enjoyable and lighthearted that you get excited for every single episode. There are a ton of fun moments throughout the first season, which is why we're here to bring you the top 10 things you might have missed from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 1. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10, Ryota Sekiguchi. When we saw the 5 Otherworlders of Freedom Academy, we definitely felt like Ryota was going to be the most powerful among them thanks to his Sasuke, Itachi, Yuno-esque personality. But on closer inspection, his name perfectly describes his powers. Ryota means good or respectable, but the second part of his name, Sekiguchi, means barrier or a gate, which perfectly fits his character. During the training drill Rimuru conducted, Ryota unleashed his power, and you could see a sudden change in his personality like a gate opened. He just went berserk and wanted to destroy Rimuru at any cost. It's subtleties and nuances like these that make us jealous of Japanese listeners, as there's a ton of minor symbolism and foreshadowing throughout various anime. We're pretty quick to catch these, but if you saw some other interesting facts like these, please make sure to comment below. Number 9. Did Rimuru evolve like all the other monsters? In the very first episode, we saw Rimuru interact with Veldora, the Storm Dragon. This was not only one of the quirkiest interactions of the series to date, but also the catalyst for the main story. During this interaction, there was a brief important detail that is explained in later episodes. Throughout the series, we have seen Rimuru giving names to all of his underlings, which in turn allows them to evolve into superior monsters with better abilities. Whenever this happens, we see a yellow aura surrounding the named person, which is exactly what happened when Veldora gave the name Rimuru to our favorite slime in this world. However, it needs to be noted that Rimuru hasn't evolved further after that moment despite him getting a lot of new skills, which might mean that there's going to be an epic power spike coming in the near future. We wouldn't be surprised if it was something like him becoming a complete dragon like Veldora, because at the end of the day, well, they're both technically brothers. Number 8. I Am Not a Bad Slime. And a deeper foreshadowing? In the 6th episode, Shizue, also known as the Conqueror of Flames, notices that Rimuru is Japanese after he says, "I am not a bad slime." The small line refers to a video game that Shizue had heard about from one of the kids in the school for children from other worlds. The reference comes from the game Dragon Quest, which if some of you don't know is a huge franchise of Japanese role-playing video games. In each of the games, when your character would approach friendly slimes, they would greet you with the phrase, "I'm not a bad slime." The reference may have gone over some people's heads if you're from the west side of the world, as Dragon Quest was substantially more popular in Japan. But the Dragon Quest references may not end there. Spoiler alert for anyone that wants to play one of the games, Dragon Quest ends with the revelation that it was just a story being read by a mother for her child, setting the stage for the start of Dragon Quest III. This jarring ending may just be a foreshadowing done by author Fuse. We've clearly heard Rimuru narrating the events of the story like he's telling someone about them in the future, so does that mean that the story will end with our great slime hero Rimuru finishing it off? Comment below how you feel if it was all just a story in a book. Number 7. A Demon Lord with a Heart? Shizue Izawa began this fun slime-filled story after she was summoned to the world during the World War II Tokyo bombing. In one of the most unfortunate times of our history, the United States Air Force conducted firebombing air raids which ended up killing almost 100,000 civilians in Tokyo. Right when this was happening, the Demon Lord Leon summoned Shizue into the Otherworld, and despite him looking and acting like a villain, we have a strong feeling that he might have placed the spirit of Ifrit inside of Shizue so that she can avoid the same fate as other summoned children. This definitely doesn't mean that he's actually a good guy, but he just might not be as heartless as we first thought. Number 6. What's the deal with Veldora and Chloe? The first time we saw the young Chloe among the children of Freedom Academy, Veldora was trying to get Rimuru's attention from inside of the slime. This happened repeatedly throughout the last few episodes of the season, which likely means that there's a hidden connection to explore. We already know that Veldora was sealed away by the summoned hero who later became the caretaker of Shizue Izawa, but we feel there's definitely something missing here in terms of chronology. It was revealed that Shizue's master left her with an anti-magic mask and disappeared, saying that it was necessary. We believe that Chloe is somehow related to this hero and potentially could be even her own daughter. This could be why Veldora has this feeling that she's a threat. The new spirit infusion and general extra screen time that Chloe's had, it's likely that she'll play a big part in the story in the future. As far as the kiss between the spirit and Rimuru is concerned, we believe that it was a gesture to thank the slime for saving her daughter from the fate she was stuck with and not something out of the blue. Number 5. Roswaal L. Clayman. At this stage, they should just hire Takehito Koyasu for every mysterious evil guy out there in the anime world. The first time we saw Clayman, we felt that we somehow knew him, and within a few scenes we could recognize that he was a beloved evil clown we all hated to enjoy during the second season of ReZero. Takehito Koyasu embedded the same sinister aura in the few scenes that Clayman was given during the first season of the show, and we can already bet on him playing a major part in the second season of the story, as the man operating from behind the shadows always makes some major moves in the second season of every show. Takehito Koyasu also voiced famous characters like Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and Aokiji from One Piece. Toss us a like if you're a fan of his incredible voice acting. Number 4. Rimuru's fated person, Shizue or Chloe? In one of the funniest scenes of the show, we saw an elf in the city of dwarves using her abilities to see the future for Rimuru. More specifically, the person who was considered his destined partner. We most obviously saw Shizue in the prophecy, but it was important to note that she wasn't alone. What we actually saw were all of Rimuru's eventual students along with her. Considering how Chloe got the anti-magic mask later in the story, a significant item to both Rimuru and Shizue, we have a gut feeling that Chloe may just be Rimuru's true fated person. I mean, if it was Shizue, she's already gone from the story, so things aren't quite adding up. Number 3. The Masked Elf? At the end of the 5th episode, we saw King Gazelle Dwargo mentioning to a subordinate of his to monitor the actions of Rimuru, but we never saw this character again during the season. It's especially odd that we'd seen a well-animated and distinct character beside the king and never have them reappear again, especially considering the king himself would make many appearances in the future. Even more so, at the end of the season, the Dwarf Nation is in alliance with the Jura Forest. It's likely that this character belongs to the moderate Harlequin Alliance, as they're the only organization we've seen that wears clown-like masks in the story so far. As any true anime fan knows, characters don't just appear and disappear without any notice, so we'll be likely seeing this person in the near future. Number 2. Leon Cromwell was trying to summon Rimuru? During the last few episodes, Rimuru traveled to the Dwelling of Spirits with his 5 students and met Ramirus there. But during all of their back and forth, the viewers might have missed a very important detail that they talked about regarding summoning otherworlders. It was revealed that the Demon Lord Leon, the same person who summoned Shizue to this world, was in fact trying to summon a specific person. Ramirus replied that it was in fact impossible to do so, but there are a ton of theories in the fandom trying to explain who it was. We have a theory that maybe it was actually Rimuru he was trying to summon. We know that Leon is going to play a big part in the story eventually, and his fateful encounter with Rimuru is going to happen one day, but what if instead of a fight, we realized that the Demon Lord Leon wanted to summon the slime for a reason unknown to us? We've already learned of this ability called Infinity in the last episode of the season, which allows its users to somehow manipulate time, and the consensus was that it was the anti-magic mask that enabled Shizue to use the technique. But what if it was something that she learned from the person who summoned her into this world? Number 1. It is possible to go back to the human world. In a conversation with Yuki Kagurazaka, we learned that the appearance of ogres and demons in Japanese folklore might result from them somehow being summoned to the human world. This won't only change the direction of the story, but could open the human world to otherworldly threats that Rimuru might need to deal with in the near future. There's no doubt that this was mentioned with a purpose, so we'll likely see a change in narrative for the future. It wouldn't be completely out of the box if Rimuru created even more alliances to deal with this upcoming threat, and maybe turning back into his original self to deal with the man who stabbed him. Until this potential future, we hope you enjoyed this video. We post weekly things you missed every Thursday, so don't forget to check out our past videos on Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and many more. We'll see you all next week for Tokyo Ghoul. Peace!